Good afternoon, Trinidad and Tobago. I'm Karen Cozier Phillips. C-News is live at noon. Topping the news at this time, the Court of Appeal rules in favor of the state in its appeal against the stay on the submission of property tax valuation forms. A panel of 3 judges began hearing submissions from attorneys representing both the state and former government minister Devant Maharaj on Tuesday. Mr. Maharaj had challenged the implementation of the property tax. Justice Frank Sipasad had granted the stay, preventing the state from collecting any valuation return forms until May 31st. That date was eventually extended with an interim injunction until June 27th during a subsequent hearing. In handing down today's judgment, the panel squashed the 2 injunctions ordered by Justice Sipasad. What it now means is that the issuing and collection of the valuation return forms can continue, but with some conditions. And our reporter Ian Wason has been following the story and was at the High Court this morning. Good morning, Ian. What are these conditions moving ahead in the property tax matter?
Good day, Karen, and the conditions that they have, the Commissioner of Valuations, they must have a media release. They must have a release on newspapers once a week for 3 weeks. Now, they can continue to collect the valuation form after the first release. So once one is done, they can go ahead and collect valuations, but they must continue to do so for 2 subsequent weeks. So it's once a week for 3 weeks. However, the court maintains that the collection, the signing up of these forms are not mandatory. They're optional. So you can do it, or you may choose not to, and there will be no sanction. And that's one major part of the ruling that has been handed down this morning.
Okay, thank you very much, Ian. Of course, we'll have more on that story in a subsequent newscast. President Anthony Carmona will swear in 2 puisne judges to the High Court today. This after the appeal court removed a stay on the appointment that prevented the swearing in on Monday. Former government minister Devant Maharaj had filed an injunction to prevent the appointment because he said the Judicial and Legal Service Commission was not properly constituted to make suggestions to have people sworn in as judges. The injunction was granted by High Court Justice Frank Sipasad, but it was immediately appealed and the state won that case. The swearing in of the 2 judges will take place at 1:30 this afternoon. Well, after the state's successful appeal in this matter, Devant Maharaj, the complainant, said his team will be appealing the Court of Appeal's ruling.
I still feel strongly that the GLSC is improperly constituted, and I have given my attorneys instructions to carry up this to the Privy Council, and I was very pleased that it will be listed on Monday for it to be heard.
The application for leave to appeal to the Privy Council has been filed and will be heard on Monday at 9 a.m. Attorney at Law Larry Lala says people should not allow the issue of race and politics to play a part in the ongoing legal battles facing the Judicial and Legal Service Commission headed by Chief Justice Archie. Mr. Lala spoke with C-News this morning and said that this institution is very important for the function of a democratic republic.
Politicians to try and step aside from the issue and allow the law association, allow the legal profession to deal with the issue free and as pure as possible from the politics. I don't agree with the opposition leader standing on a political platform calling upon the Chief Justice to step down. I think that is taking it a bit too far, and that is providing fodder for persons to use the racial bogey in order to deflect from the issues that are involved in the matter.
However, when you have politicians who are also attorneys in the case of Gerald Ramdeen and Wayne Sturge, how does one differentiate? Mr. Lala also shared his thoughts on calls for Mr. Archie to resign. He said he shares the view of Senior Counsel Martin Daly that he should take into consideration the Law Association voting for that. Mr. Lala added the CJ may now lack the moral authority to preside over the judiciary. This is a C-News Live report at noon. Remember, you can keep up to date with all the latest news on our website at ctvtt.com, or you can check out our Facebook and Twitter pages at C-News Live. Well, with all the controversy surrounding the Chief Justice Ivor Archie and the Judicial and Legal Service Commission, should the CJ make a public statement? Well, according to Attorney at Law Keith Scotland, there's no need for that.
I think that the Honourable Chief Justice has said, well, there have been releases coming out of the judiciary and GLSC. Make a statement about what now? Well, what else is there to say? I think that and I am no advisor to anyone, but I think that the Honourable Chief Justice should go about the business of the country, what the country has put him there to do, in charge of the judiciary, and do the work. Remember when we came the last time, I told you of the appointments, judicial officers, legal officers. There's lots to be done in this country.
And he maintains his position that there's no need for Ivor Archie to resign as Chief Justice.
People seem to be going about their not understanding what is going on. I think it's time that every member, no matter what your view is of our society, stand up and let their voice be heard about what is going on here, you know.
To other news now, the Northwest Regional Health Authority is investigating a matter where an elderly man was found dead near the entrance of the Port of Spain General Hospital. Police said at around 1 o'clock this morning, the man was seen at the hospital's accident and emergency department. However, they were unable to say whether he was treated. The man, who is yet to be identified, was wearing a soiled cream-colored pants and purple shirt. Police said there were no visible marks of violence. Police have found and seized a pump-action shotgun and a quantity of marijuana. This was done by officers of the Moruga Police Station on Tuesday. The officers say they went to Shorty Street, Bois Jaja, Moruga, where they found a camp in a forested area. 3 male occupants who were at the site immediately fled upon seeing the officers. A search of the camp led to the discovery of a 12-gauge Maverick Pro shotgun along with 3.86 kilograms of marijuana. The estimated street value is $30,600. Here now is Ian Wallace with your afternoon weather.
It's the hurricane season. The Atlantic, however, is still quite quiet, and we'll continue to see tranquil conditions across many parts of the Eastern Caribbean. Despite a few showers and some cloudiness, though, we could be seeing some Saharan haze pushing through the island chain as well. Today we'll feel warm at 32 degrees Celsius in Trinidad, 31 degrees Celsius likely in Tobago. For those heading offshore, look for whitecaps and sea spray under fresh easterly winds of 15 to 20 knots. You may see flags flapping along those eastern shorelines with a moderate chop of 2 meters in easterly swells of 8 seconds. That's the latest weather, and I am meteorologist Ian Wallace.
After over 8 hours of committee discussion in the Senate, the Motor Vehicles and Road Traffic Amendment Bill 2017 was read a third time and passed with amendments.
Honourable Senators, the question is that a bill entitled An Act to Amend the Motor Vehicles and Road Traffic Act, Chapter 4850, to introduce a system of traffic violations for certain breaches of the Act, to provide for the implementation of a red light camera system, a demerit point system, and the reform of the fixed penalty system and related legal proceedings and other related matters, be now read a third time and passed. Those in favour say aye. Aye. Those against say no. No. The ayes have it.
Melchizedek Zulu, the 16-year-old of Diego Martin, who was reported missing by his father on Thursday, 1st June 2017, has been found. Police are thanking the public for its assistance in ensuring the teenager's safe return. The statement by the police gave no further information. Meanwhile, police are trying to find 16-year-old Dana Wallace. The teen from Union Road, St. Margaret's, was last seen at her home on June 6. She was reported missing on the same day. Dana is of mixed descent, 5 feet 6 inches tall, slim built and light brown in complexion. She was last seen wearing a black and white dress and a pair of brown sandals. And police are also trying to find 14-year-old Aaliyah Cruikshank. She was last seen at her Brooklyn Settlement Sangre Grande home at around 10:30 on Monday. She was reported missing on Tuesday. Aaliyah is of mixed descent, 5 feet 2 inches tall, medium build and light brown in complexion. Anyone with information is asked to contact the police. In some lighter news now, the Trinidad and Tobago Culinary team placed second in the 2017 Taste of the Caribbean competition. Team captain Chef Adrian Cumberbatch was full of praise for his team, who, despite their best efforts, were unable to successfully defend their title. In an emotional post via social media, he congratulated his team and thanked all supporters.
You guys did a fantastic job. I'm truly inspired and happy that of what I've saw over the last 6 months, the progress that you've made in your career. It may be a bit disappointed, but we try our best,
Right, copping first place in a number of categories, the local team had to settle for an overall second place finish. Chef Cumberbatch says the team will have to consider a new approach heading into next year's competition. The Trinidad and Tobago Culinary team won gold in Best Vodka Drink, Pastry Chef, Junior Chef, Bartender, and silver in the National Team of the Year and Chef of the Year categories. And we start with news of cricket. South Africa won the toss and elected to bat first against Pakistan in match 7 of the ICC Champions Trophy being played at Edgbaston in Birmingham. The Proteas were in a bit of trouble early on, batting at 90 for 4 in 22 overs. Quinton de Kock made 33, Hashim Amla 16, Faf du Plessis 26. Captain A.B. de Villiers was out for a duck and ever-dependable J.P. Duminy 8. South Africa posted a commendable 219 for 8 from their 50 overs. David Miller was the saviour of the innings, finishing on 75 not out. Hassan Ali was the best Pakistani bowler, taking 3 for 20. President of the Jamaica Football Federation, Captain Horace Burrell, has died at the age of 67. Captain Burrell was instrumental in the Reggae Boys becoming the first English-speaking Caribbean nation to qualify for the FIFA World Cup. He was also an executive member of CONCACAF during the presidency of Jack Warner. It was reported last year that he was being treated for cancer and eventually lost his battle. Burrell was a real live wire in Jamaican football and made a huge contribution in the development of the sport throughout the region as an administrator. Back to cricket now. Queen's Park Cricket Club retained 2 of 3 titles as the local cricket calendar came to an end recently. The Parkites retained the National League and 50 overs titles, which was no easy feat despite being populated by Windies and Red Force players. In the words of coach David Furlong, there was a lot of chopping and changing when players were called for national and Windies duty, but the youngsters stepped up to fill the void. Case in point, Tion Webster, who scored over 1,000 domestic runs, and Terence Hines, who took 53 wickets both in a single season.
When the senior fellas are not here, even the regional fellas are not here, that could step in and take their place and then make the regional players fight for their place when they come back.
With his successes over the years at QPCC, Furlong was justly rewarded by being appointed coach of the TNT Under-17 team, which will be looking to defend their regional title in July. There are 5 QPCC players in the squad, and Furlong is going to implement his regime of preparation as being the key to success.
To make sure that we build a team, and not just have individual players outside there. It's important to play as a team. And once we get those things done, I saw the captain made some comments which I liked, and so that, once we can build a good strong team, a good strong unit, and again prepare the team properly, practice in all areas, I think we should do well in the tournament.
Well, that's it for sport. And that's how we end our CNews report at noon. I'm Karen Kozier-Phillip. Remember, for up-to-date and breaking news throughout the day, you can visit the CNews website at ctvtt.com. Do have a good afternoon.